All right, you guys, let's keep going with measures of variation and talk about how we're going to get the standard deviation for grouped data. All right, so now we're dealing with data that's been grouped either by a frequency distribution or a histogram. Notice that our sample standard deviation formula is exactly the same, except now there's this f that's in our numerator. And what is that little script f? Well, those are our frequencies. All right, and obviously our sample size, how are we going to get that? Well, that's going to come from summing all the frequencies. Okay. When a frequency distribution has classes, what are you going to do? You're going to estimate the sample mean and the sample standard deviation by using the midpoint of each class. All right, the best way to think about this, because it can be a little bit confusing, especially when I'm talking formulas and all, is to just go through an example. All right, so we're looking at 50 households in a region, and we're just counting the number of children in these households. All right, so we want to find the sample mean and the sample standard deviation. Well, to get going, we want to create a frequency distribution. All right, so, and you guys, this is exactly like what I'm asking you in week 2, number 2 Excel's question. All right, just to create a frequency distribution. So the first step here is we look at the number of children that's in the household, and we see that it ranges from 0 to 6. So our x's are going to be 0 to 6. And for each number of children in the household, we count how many houses, say, have 0 children. Well, 10 houses have 0 children. 19 houses have 1 child. 4 houses have 6 children, heaven forbid. All right? And so now what we want to do is we want to multiply the number of children in the house with the frequency. All right? So we multiply 0 times 10 to get 0. 1 times 19 to get 19. All right, so in other words, we're multiplying the data entry with the frequency. All right, we are going to add up each one of these. We're going to add up 0, 19, 14, 21, 8, 5, and 24. When we add these up, we get 91. All right, 91 comes from summing the data entry, or the number of children in the house, times the frequency, or the number of houses. All right, what do we do then? We're going to divide by the sum of our frequencies, or our little n, and that's going to give us our sample mean. All right, so of these 50 houses, on average, the houses have 1.8 children. All right, now don't go cross-eyed on me. All right, I'm going to walk you through it. It's just a lot of numbers. All right, so now we know that x bar is 1.8. Our sample mean is 1.8. So we're going to just kind of run through finding the variance just like we've been doing. We're going to take the number of children, our data entry. We're going to subtract the mean, and we're going to get this deviation. What do we do with this deviation? We are going to square the deviation. Okay, and then what do we do with this squared deviation? We are going to multiply it by the frequency. All right, we do this for each class, or in this situation, number of children in the household. All right, so let's go through it with 1. For the houses that have 1 children in the house, we have 19 houses. We're going to take 1 and subtract the mean and get a negative 0.8 deviation. We square this deviation and get 0.64. We take 0.64 and multiply it by the frequency of 19 to get 12.16. We do this for, again, each of the number of children in the house, 0 through 6. Once we have all of our squared deviations times the frequency, we're going to add them up, and we get 145.40. All right, what are we going to do with this number? Well, we're going to divide it by 1 less than the number of frequencies, or 50 minus 1. So we're taking this 145.40 and dividing it by 49. We're going to square root that answer, and we get a standard deviation of approximately 1.7 children.